Today, Africa stands at crossroads. Does it look back at slavery? Does it look back at the scramble for Africa, where each European country scrambled to take part of our continent, a nation, each a part as part of our soil, part of our sovereignty, taken out in the Berlin Conference by Bismarck? Does Africa, after that, was it used again for the World War I and the World War II? The wars came, Africa again became a buffer zone to carry the baggage of the World War I, World War II. Africa then moved forward. We started emancipation. We started agitating ourselves for agitation for democracy, calls for democracy, for independence. We struggled. We got our independence. The first country in Africa, 1957, was Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah, to nurture in a new dispensation of democracy. What happened then? Second phase, the last phase which Africa faces, which started facing, was the overthrow of governments by the same colonial masters who failed. The new rulers were not up to date. After that, the introduction of elections. Every 5 years, elections. The introduction of elections, 4 years, there is a fury which I have not understood as a person. I haven't known where in the Plateau Republic, where it was written that elections should be conducted every 5 years. Two things have remained disturbing Africa as these factors that have led us being called a dark continent: elections and democracy. We seem not to understand elections and democracy. We seem not to learn the lessons we have moved, the areas we have moved from slavery up to today, to be free, not slaves. But we are not free. We are still enslaved by something that was brought upon us, called elections and democracy. How were Africans, richest Africans, doing the trans-Saharan trade, knowing that commerce was important? How could they not know that elections and democracy was important? Someone brought a doctrine of elections using religion, Bible. We are divided into Catholics, Protestants. For the sake of my country, Uganda, Muslims, our religions were not taken into consideration. Even when we know, or we knew up to today in Africa, we have our values and we know that our religions, also we pray. There's somebody up there. There's no African man who was praying looking down. They all prayed looking up. The only problem is that we didn't have a name for that thing. And here we are, we got into a problem. We are left with something called elections and democracy. That is where Africa stands today, with elections and democracy. What has killed Africa today? Every African country that goes to elections except South Africa, where the post-election moment becomes the real moment that people go to parliament and argue their cases. The rest of African countries have a fight after elections. If I'm wrong, tell me. Ghana has tried, but Mahama goes to court. Twice he has gone to court contesting the win of Nana Addo. And Nana Addo has won twice. In Nigeria, do you call it an election? or it was just simply a selection. In my country, Uganda, 9 million people disappeared and they went to heaven or hell and then came back after elections. In Nigeria, for example, 68 million people went to hell or heaven, then they returned after elections. Is there something that has happened about our elections? Is there something that the imperial machinery fixed into elections and democracy that keeps us all the time fighting? That is what every African should start asking. Why is it every 5 years, every 4 years, someone has to die because of elections? Someone has to die because of no democracy. Why? Yet, in these countries which introduce democracy, people don't die because of elections. Some of them don't even vote. Some of them have rules that force people to vote. Is it time to change election management in Africa? And we have tamper-proof electoral systems that will not guarantee us chaos at the end of every election. Thank you very much. I rest my case. If I am wrong, time will tell. Obstacle that kills Africa all the time up to today: elections and democracy. We have no problem. It keeps us busy for the next 5 years. Then it keeps us busy for the next 5 years. We are quarreling, we are fighting, we are killing each other, while our oil, diamonds, gold, platinum, lithium, coke, everything, name it, that grows in Africa is taken away. Isn't it time for you to rethink what you can do for Africa and not Africa, and what Africa can do for you? Rethink from slavery up to election and democracy. Haven't we learned enough lessons? I rest my case.